Hello everyone. My name is Steve Emerson and I am an IT Transformation Solution Architect. And today, along with Christian Malone and Damon Bell, we're going to show you how leveraging a single platform for IT will help deliver digital change for your organization. Now, as tech leaders, you've been focused on delivering smart experiences, driving cost savings, and ensuring operational resilience, all around the theme of innovating faster. And in today's world, some of that agenda has evolved. For smart experiences, you need to account for the large number of distributed workforce and provide them digital workflows so they get access to the things that they need in a rapid manner. You need to drive rapid cost savings, which are critical in being able to do more with less. And there is increased focus on ensuring that your systems remain secure and operational. And while the need for digital transformation always existed, the speed at which you need to now deliver that has rapidly increased in order to support today's digital world. Now, ServiceNow can help you deliver that digital change with a single platform for IT, which is going to help connect your technology ecosystem, which has a lot of different systems of record that you use today, whether it's your legacy ERP system that is managed in a more waterfall methodology, or your modern digital experiences such as safe return to workplace apps that are relying on the modern technologies like clouds, for example. And we need to be able to connect the employees and customers to those systems while being able to ensure that the software lifecycle is managed from plan through service. So in essence, every company is becoming a software company. Now, ServiceNow can do that by providing a single platform for IT, which has one architecture, which ensures that all solutions leverage the same underlying components, such as workflow and integrations, machine learning and AI, as well as web and mobile experiences, and one data model, which is the Service Graph, or SeamDB. And now we're going to move on to the platform for IT demo. And throughout this demo, we're going to leverage different personas and transition between them. We're going to start off with the perspective of an end user, or an employee, I should say, and then we're going to move on to the IT experience. We're going to start off the demo by showing you what a great experience looks like from the perspective of an employee or a customer, and then we're going to switch over to the perspective of IT. Now, in this first use case, we have a new employee who needs access to an application. And this employee can pull up their ServiceNow mobile application and chat with a virtual agent, which is something that you or I may do in our home lives in order to get service from an online shopping service, our cable provider, and so on. And we can use the native capabilities of our smartphones, such as voice-to-text translation, grant access to ordering app. And once we've submitted what we're looking to do, ServiceNow will basically present us a list of choices leveraging our natural language understanding capabilities. In this case here, we want access to order status. We click that, and then within a few clicks, this employee has completed submitting the request, and then within minutes, she will have access. There is an automated workflow on the back end that automates the granting of the access, which is going to get this employee the access that she needs as quickly as possible, and is going to significantly drive down incident and request volume to your service desk. The second use case here is now that she has access to the application, she wants to set up some promo codes. Set up promo codes on ordering app. Once again, she will be presented with a list of choices that match what she has asked for. And in this case here, instead of submitting a request, it is going to present this employee with a knowledge base article, which is going to once again deflect away incidents from the service desk or requests on how to do something like this. It's more of a self-service scenario in this case. And once she completes the steps, she can click that this helped her. Then the final use case here would be, once the promo codes are in production, she now notices that there is a pricing glitch that needs to be reported as a risk. Report risk on order status. Once again, she can use the native capabilities of her smartphone, and it'll come up with a list of items here. The first one is report risk, and we're going to give it a title. Pricing glitch noticed after promotion is added to order status. Once we add the title, we're going to have to just complete which entity this was part of, which is order status. This did incur a monetary loss, and I expect this loss to be around $20,000. We're going to pick when we found this, which was yesterday. And then lastly, did you discover this event? Yes. So within just a few answers, this employee was able to submit a risk for IT to further investigate. So by using the virtual agent, you saw how this employee was able to quickly get access to the services that she needs, and it significantly drove down volume from the IT perspective. Now we're going to look at things from the perspective of IT. And because this is a single platform for IT, we can gain visibility into the entire state of IT on one dashboard. Now we're looking at this from the perspective of our CIO or our IT leadership. And this is an example of a dashboard that can be used during a weekly stand-up meeting, or in this case, a weekly virtual meeting. And we can understand the health of our IT operations, looking at the number of outages and trends, the cost of outages, what is our mean time to repair. From a security perspective, we can understand what is our mean time to repair security incidents. We can look at our vulnerable items by risk rating, so our vulnerability posture, if you will. From a service health perspective, while it's important to understand the service availability trend, right, we also need to survey the employees and customers to understand how IT is doing, right? What is the pulse of the community? From a capability perspective, any digital transformation project is going to have money allocated to it. And there will be many projects spun up as part of that program that need to be tracked. IT leadership can look at this dashboard and see how we're performing from a plan versus budgeted versus actual cost perspective and manage projects. We can understand what capability gaps we have that we need to address with this transformation project. We can understand is there legacy technology out there, whether it's hardware or software, that's going to be coming due soon, which would cause undue security risks or increased maintenance costs from a support perspective. We can understand the health of our auditing. So when we look at our risks, which we just submitted one earlier, we can look to see what are the impact of risks and how likely are they to occur. And of course, anything on this dashboard you can dive down further into. And then finally, in order to drive down costs, we can look to see what opportunities do we have to pull back, whether it's software or SaaS license subscriptions that are not being used, as well as understanding our true-up costs. Now, while going through this dashboard, we noticed that there has been a trend in outages for the order status application. The CIO says to the VP of IT operations, can you please investigate, right? So the VP of IT operations pulls up their current service health dashboard to understand what things look like right now before even looking at what has happened in the past. So this service health dashboard tells us the health of all of our services instead of showing the health of individual components. That is because we have put business context around our operational components, such as servers, right? Because when a user cannot access an application, they need to know the status of applications, not the status of individual components like a server. In this case here, the IT operations VP asks the IT operations analyst to further investigate what is currently happening with the order status service. So we can look at first to understand where the issue lies. By looking at that service map we talked about, we can understand that there is an issue with this Oracle database on this Windows server. And then to troubleshoot that, there is a single pane of glass that the IT operator can use to find root cause, and to restore service as quickly as possible through automation. We see there is currently a disk space issue on this system. We see how many services are impacted. In this case, there's just one. We see how many secondary issues are occurring in the environment that are related to this. So ServiceNow helps you reduce the noise by 99% of all that operational noise to give you the most actionable set of things to work on. We also see what types of knowledge base articles that would apply to this condition to help the operator understand what to do. The operator can also look at insights from IT service management, and this is a differentiated outcome that ServiceNow provides. If you're leveraging IT operations on top of IT service management, you can glean insights from changes, from problems, from incidents to help find the root cause. This one example here shows us that there is a change right now going on to set the logs to verbose mode for troubleshooting. So by setting logs to verbose mode, it starts to fill up the disk space very fast. Right? The other thing we can look at is operational metrics over time to look at what disk space free percentage was. Now the operator has decided that in order to fix this, the best thing to do right now would be to restart that, to expand that disk space. And instead of creating a change request manually, having somebody swivel chair to actually do the tasks manually that are in these knowledge base articles, you can build automated remediation actions for that to occur and attach those right to this single pane of glass for the IT operator to execute. And as you start to mature your IT operations, you can set these actions to occur automatically so your applications become self-healing. Now that is how we remediated the existing outage. I'm going to turn things over now to Christian, who's going to talk about it from a service owner perspective, and we can look at how the service has been performing over time. Christian, over to you.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate the work that operations puts in to help make sure that our services are reliable. I'm the service owner. I'm responsible for our services from planning to retirement. Let's take a look at the service owner workspace, which I use to manage our customer satisfaction, total spend, as well as our ITSM records. I'm able to see our service portfolios, the services, and the related service offerings. Let's click through into my highest weighted service offering now. As I do, we're now looking at order status offering. I'm able to see that I have a problem with my availability. I have quite a big dip here where we had quite a long outage over the course of a period. And in fact, if I look a little bit deeper, I can see that in the last 7 days, I haven't met my SLAs, neither the last 30 days. And in fact, for the last 12 months, I haven't been averaging very well either. I also had an issue with some breached SLA tasks. And as I dig into a little bit more of the details, I can see my recent outages that I've had, quite a few of them. And just looking at that operations, we're able to see an example of what some of them looked like. My current outages, my planned outages that are coming up. Able to see my critical incidents that have happened most recently. A lot of these are around slow response times. Some of these could be user-based. Some of these could be automated through our monitoring alerts. And a lot of these have led myself and our operations teams to identify a performance issue. So ultimately what we've decided to do is go ahead and put in a change request. I worked with engineering. We decided to increase the processing power. So let's take a look into that change now. All that we did was create a change, go ahead and add the configuration item, one of the servers that hosts our Oracle database. We're able to go in, add it as an affected CI, and we're able to take advantage of our proposed change functionality within change management. This gives us the ability to open up a window, start to make some changes to the configurations. We've already done this, but what we did was we changed this from a 4 to an 8, effectively giving this system more cores, so I wouldn't have those same problems with performance that have been plaguing us and our users for some time now. Ultimately, we just had more users connecting to the system, and we've needed to increase to keep up with that capacity. So now, if I take a look at that change, this has led me to another feature within our change management, which is our license change projection. What this has done is by proposing additional cores, it's effectively given me this insight into, at this point, My current spend is $175,000 for my Oracle software, but my projected spend is nearly $300,000. So by making this core change to increase my availability and ultimately have more resources available, I have to make sure that I have budget for six figures, additional $100,000. In addition to this, I'm able to see my vulnerability, so my risk scores, and I can see that I have some high risks as well here. Ultimately, what this is going to lead me to is have a conversation with our enterprise architecture team, because I want to get their feedback whether or not that cost is well allocated, and whether these vulnerabilities should be something that I should be concerned about. From here, we're going to go ahead and kick it over to Damon. Let's have that business conversation. Thank you, Damon.
Thanks, Christian. That's very interesting. So I'm going to play the persona of an enterprise architect here. Now, due to the additional costs outlined in this change request here that Christian touched upon, really an enterprise architect wants to investigate the technology risks associated with this software in question here. Now, what I'm going to use as an enterprise architect is what we call the technology portfolio management view in our application portfolio management product. So after reviewing that change request and seeing the relationship to Oracle DB Server 12, the enterprise architect opens up the technology lifecycle capability, really trying to understand what risk this software may have. What you can see here is following the common services data model. We have the business application of inventory management at the top, the application service, which is in this instance our order status service, which we know from earlier on in this session has had multiple outages against it. But I can now see which software models and which hardware models are running on this application service, the order status application service here. I can see that the Oracle DB Server 12 CR1 Enterprise is associated with this application service. It is software running on that application service, and it was tied to that change, which is going to cost a lot of money. Now, coming on over to the timeline view here, as I click on the publisher lifecycle there in the timeline view, I can actually see that this has got an end of support lifecycle phase in early 2021. So that change for me as an enterprise architect, although short term, it may rectify the issue, what we really need to do is put a long-term strategy in place. So as the enterprise architect, I'm going to create directly from this screen, I'm going to create a project to migrate that piece of software. We're looking at a digital transformation exercise, so I'd really like to push this into the cloud. So I'm going to name my project, let's go Oracle DB Cloud Migration. I'm going to align it to a portfolio, the digital business transformation portfolio. I could align it to a program. I'm going to assign this to a project manager. I could add a description. I could also tie it to the business application. Obviously, we know that it's tied to the inventory management application. And I could also provide some business capabilities of which this individual business application is providing to the organization. Now, when we save that record, a new project is created. You can see in the list, in the technology portfolio view, I can see that new project that's been created, the Oracle DB Cloud Migration. I can also see the timeline there. So that's leveraging our project portfolio management solution. So let's take a look at that from a project manager's point of view. If I drill into the project workspace here, it's going to bring up all active projects. We can see that new Oracle DB Cloud Migration project has been created. We're currently at 0% complete, and we're in green from a health status. Drilling into that project, now I have a set of 6 different pages. What I really want to focus on is the planning page here, which opens up ServiceNow's Gantt Chart capability. Here you can see on the right-hand side, we've got our Gantt Chart, finish to start dependencies with milestones in here. You can see following PMI best practices, we've got the different phases, initiation, planning, execution, delivery, and closeout in here as well. So full project Gantt chart within the ServiceNow platform. And I also want to take a quick look at the resources in here. So in order to achieve this project, I've requested 3 different resource types. I've requested a program manager, some analysts, I've gone for 2 FTEs there, and also an architect. Now, I can see the planned hours that I'm requesting for these resource types, but if I drill into one of these items, I can also see every person who sits under that architect group, and I can also see their availability, capacity, and utilization to work on this individual project as well. Again, if I click on the program managers, I get to see a different list of people, and again, their availability, capacity, and utilization. So full resource management against this project. Last piece in here I want to touch on is the status report in here. So as you can see, this is a brand new project. The overview is actually taken from either the Gantt chart or the project details page. An executive summary is keyed in by the project manager. We can see the executive summary, last week's achievements, and key activities planned for before the next status report. We can see some trending charts around cost, planned versus actual cost in here, and resources allocated versus actual. Again, because this is a new project, we just see a limited view in here. Scrolling further down the status report, I can see that color commentary of the current project status from an overall point of view, schedule, cost, resources, and scope in here. Status history is going to show me the last 9 project status reports. Currently, we only have 1 in here, but you would see this in a grid view, so you could see whether projects are coming back on track or are actually going off schedule in here. And then I'm going to see the key milestones from the project, whether pending or completed, as well as any risks, issues, actions, and project change requests in here. Okay, so to finish this off, we also want to start to think about what's our continual improvement management around these business services that we're offering. So we're going to take a quick look at the continual improvement workbench. What you can see here is I have 2 tabs, an overview, so I can see all the current work in progress, continual improvement initiatives. I can see the ones that are either overdue, complete, or currently in progress. As well as that, I can also see the planning. So different way of looking at this, I can see those work in progress ones that I saw previously on the overview screen, but I could also see those continual improvement initiatives that are in the backlog awaiting to be started in here. Back to the overview, let's drill into one of these continual improvement initiatives. We'll take that improved performance degradation on business critical services. And you can see this one is actually aligned to the business service order status. Now, scrolling down, we've got some reports from Analytics Hub. We can actually see over the past months the mean time to resolution of this service, and you can track all those hours and dates monthly to see how, if that's improving or it's actually going down in terms of reducing that mean time to resolution. Further down, we can see any goals this might be tied to, percentage improvements that we're expecting, what our target value is, when our next review date is. We can also drill down into details, who it's requested by, what's the type. This is obviously a process change. We can see the schedule and any notes associated with that. Also, moving further down in the related list section, we can also see the phases of this initiative, this improvement initiative. We can drill into the individual tasks, impacted KPIs, who's approving this, and also any demands or projects that may be related to this. As you can see, that project that was created earlier by the enterprise architect and being worked on by the project manager, the Oracle DB cloud migration, is a critical project in terms of this continual improvement initiative. Finally, we want to look at the benchmarks dashboard. Now, really, what the benchmark offers us, as you can see here as this loads. So the CIO really wants to understand how the IT team is performing. So the ServiceNow benchmark application gives you instant visibility into your key performance indicators and trends, as well as that comparative insight relative to industry averages of your peers. You can contrast that performance of your organization with any recognized industry standards. You can view a side-by-side comparison of performance with global benchmarks, and then implement recommendations for improved performance. And you can see here the difference of benchmarks. We've got things like percentage of high priority incidents. Here's a benchmark of 3% here. You can see we're way over this in terms of tracking these benchmarks. 65.6% of incidents resolved on first assignment. The benchmark is 66% there, based on industry of consumer goods there. But I can change any of these items. Maybe I want to look at the government area, and you can see the different industry benchmarks as I drill into any of these items. If I look at industrials, or I could come down to number of users, for example, in the business. It's going to change those benchmarks for me, or regional based. So key component there, the continual improvement initiatives, as well as the out-of-the-box benchmarking.